I built an avatar floating island pond in our warehouse.
Outstanding.
So check out this hidden walkway that's gonna lead us to this secret spot. Oh, this is awesome. This is the Aquascape Grotto. This was designed and built back in 2009 when we created this amazing water feature. So Ellen and I watched Avatar over the weekend, which is just an amazing movie, and that got my mind thinking. I always love pushing the envelope on things just like this, just doing some crazy, crazy stuff. But once it's done, you look back at it, you're like, that is just unbelievable. I want to have that exact experience with the pond I'm doing inside the office. Putting together all these different pieces and parts, I want to take it to the next level. I'm going to create a floating island that's going to hover above that beautiful tank, and water's actually going to spill out from the top of it, land down inside of that tank. And then on top of that, I have to go talk to Lori and our marketing department. I want to get a beautiful backdrop that is going to set the stage for this amazing new feature. Let's go create an avatar pond. Hey, what's up everybody? Ed the Pond Professor here, back on the project. I have been traveling a little bit of everywhere recently. I want to bring you up to speed on where I left off. I have that viewing window in place. I put in my bulkhead fittings over here, so I have 2 of those fittings in. Started laying in some of the stone inside of here. I got some of those faux panels left over from raw fishing that we're going to use inside of there. I want to try to start getting ready for some of the plumbing. So I'm going to cut an opening in this piece here, mount one of our waterfall spillways inside of it, and then I'm going to run a 1-inch pipe. I don't need a ton of water, so it's just going to be a 1-inch pipe. It's going to go to that pump vault that I installed. So I want to try to get that in place, and I'm also going to put a series of manifolds in place so I could tee off and I could split into multiple other areas where I want water. So some of the things that I'm kind of thinking about right now, I may actually get water kind of dripping off of this, just kind of creating that cool rainforesty type of a look. I have to get more water inside of this to create this waterfall effect. Thinking of coming up over the back in this corner and just kind of blasting water out from underneath that faux panel over there, just to create that riverine type of a system, which you know I love. It would actually be really cool to have a big swath of sand kind of cutting through this and then kind of turn its way into cobblestones and stuff like that in the background. So let's see what we could make happen. All right, so here's a really quick manifold installation. Basically, manifold is we're splitting the water flow up into multiple discharge points. So we have this one main 2-inch line coming up and over and dumping inside of the tank. It's going to create the volume that I'm looking for to create the necessary waterfall on that far other side. This T that's coming off over on this side is splitting off into a 1-inch. That 1-inch valve is going to feed a flexible 1-inch pipe, which is going to go all the way over to that faux waterfall stone over on this side to create different effects that I'm looking for over there. Now normally with a pump vault installation like this, we're trying to keep it really clean, blend it in with the surrounding landscape and everything, but in this application, from the vantage point over on that side, you can't even see any of this stuff, so I'm not really worried about it. Completely different installation than I would normally be doing outdoors in somebody's backyard, a zoo, aquarium, or something like that. So completely different. Here's a better view of that faux stone. That rock normally is designed to be laying down as kind of like an outcropping rock. I stood it up vertically. You could totally lay it down like the way it was normally designed and have that at the top, but I'm looking for that vertical element, and I'm also looking for this kind of a craggy type of a look to it. So I think that's really going to do the job. So my goal is to have water kind of come out, come down this, pool up in here, and then fall into a pool, which is right here. Right now, when you look at this, you see an aqua block. There's no way water's going to pool up here. So I have to fill this entire area in. Now, normally in indoor installations like this, I'll use bags of gravel, bags of mulch, anything basically, aqua blocks, anything to fill that void space. And I'll put a rubber membrane on top of it. That's actually going to create the watertight seal. The water's going to come out of these 2 little outlets. It's going to pool up, and it's going to come over this section as a waterfall, but I will have additional water coming in from this waterfall. You could see if water comes off here, it's going to want to come out this little corner here. So I'm going to actually have to foam a rock or something in place right here to funnel all the water through that one crevice over here. I'm feeding this with a 1-inch pipe, so I don't have a ton of water that's actually going to that, and I'm hoping that's not a mistake. So I had to make an adjustment. The Waterfall Spillway, even though it was the small one, the 12-inch, it was going to be too big in this area, would have taken up too much space, so I had to drop down to a 3-inch coupling. So I'm going to go from a 1-inch up to a 2-inch, up to a 3-inch. It's going to help to spread the water out evenly. If I just had that 1-inch pipe coming up in here by itself, it would blast water up and it would just splash all over the place. I'm looking for kind of a welling up of water, and then I want it to spill out into the appropriate areas. Oh, that's what it looks like from the inside. I'm going to bring my 1-inch pipe up into this. I will probably attach it to this wood over here just to hold it in place. I don't want to rely on the glue to hold the piping in place. I want to have it mechanically secured first of all, and then glue second. So I'll bring that piping out and around, and it's going to connect in with that 1-inch valve that I put way behind that rock over there. You can kind of see, if you look up inside of there, you can see some light going through. I have to foam all of that because I want to make sure that all of my water goes up and out. Now if a little drips down in here, it's not going to hurt anything, but I am limited on my water supply, so I want to make sure that I see as much of that water as possible. Here is my trusty foam gun and waterfall foam. As a pond builder, we use this stuff literally for everything. This is like the pond builder's duct tape. Super versatile. We use it for diverting water. We use it for securing things, holding things in place, for disguising, gluing mosses and things like that. So I'm going to take my waterfall foam and I'm going to do that whole backside. I'm going to hook up my plumbing line first, and then I will foam that in place. So it definitely is go time. Come up with an idea of having a floating island. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to suspend it from up here. So again, stuff that I normally wouldn't do. Tackle this next. I want to get this ready to accept water. So I have to first figure out how to get water up inside of it. So I'm going to get some of my flexible PVC plumbing. I'm going to use one of our small spillways. I'm going to mount a platform inside of this box right here. So I have to do a wooden frame down in here, and I'm going to set that unit up. This is our spillway, which we use for creating waterfalls and things. I will plumb up the back of it. I will then cut some notches out of here to allow water to drizzle itself down. I think it's going to create a really, really cool effect. But I have to do all of this, make it structural, and then I have to suspend it from those rafters, which are 25 feet above my head right now. It's going to be a full afternoon here for me. We're at a great point in the project right now, so I'm getting ready to hoist up the floating island, which is going to be suspended from the rafters here. So what I've done so far, I have a temporary makeshift lifting device. I have a little block and shackle up here above. I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to need a second pair of hands because I have to take this eye bolt and I'm going to bolt it right through the middle of everything. So it's going to go to the structure down here. This is going to extend up through this little slot over here. It's going to be down deeper though, and then I will take another carabiner and I'm going to be able to hook it directly to my strap system. So that's structural enough to hold everything. This is not crazy heavy, but it's still relatively heavy, and I'm going to be working underneath it, so I don't want anything hanging above my head that could potentially fall and do some serious damage. Once it's up there, I'm then going to come in with my plumbing. So I have my spillway in place. I cut out my slots here in the front. That's going to allow the water to exit and drop back down into the system. So once I get it mounted, I'm then going to come in with some of my decorations, my mosses and all that type of stuff, and put it on there, tie everything off. Then I'm going to come in with some vines and that type of stuff, push it over the top, giving it that jungle avatar type of a look. So this is going to be a really, really cool addition. Everything is looking incredible right now. This is the piece I've been waiting for. getting down to the final details here of the actual structure itself. Started doing the edging around the perimeter, trimming up the liner, dropping in a few more plantings, getting in some more of the river rock, some of those little final things. I want to make sure that all this is nice and tight here in the front, because that's going to be the main point of observation. Sand is down here in the bottom. I just love that bright colored sand against those rocks and some of that green vegetation. It really makes it pop. Water's actually going in right now, so this is going to fill all the way up. That viewing panel turned out fantastic. So remember that infrastructure. I got the pump vault. I have a layer of the large aqua blocks. I have the rubber membrane going underneath everything. So this is actually a tank sitting on top of another tank. Like I said before, I love the creativity. I love having this sandbox here right in our warehouse. So you can see, I mean, this is our warehouse. we are stocked up with all types of materials over here. We have our fake home over on this side, or facade of a home, just to give it that look when we're designing and building water features here. We can see what it looks like from inside and outside the house. This allows us to be creative, practice our art, kind of push the boundaries on everything that we do. All right, we're ready for our test. I washed everything down. I got water all over the place, but I got to get the pumps running before I actually put up the backdrop, because I don't know where all the water is going to be going. So I know there's going to be a lot of splash and things happening. I just don't know what extent. So let's see what this looks like. All right, let's crank her up and see what it does. All right, so far, so good. Well, maybe not. That's a little bit out of control. That is splashing all over the place. Yeah, it's going to be a mess. So we're definitely going to have to change that. I do have an adjustable pump, so I'm going to turn that down. That's still a problem. I might be able to twist that a little bit. Stay right there. I'm going to go on that side, and we're going to move it around until we get that splash to disappear. I'm really happy with the results. Everything looks great. Good flow over on this side. Nice little accent effect out of the big boulders and everything. But you can see I have water coming out the back of that floating island. Not that big of a deal, because I don't mind that effect. The problem is, though, we're going to have that backdrop really, really close back there, and I don't want to damage that. All right, we're moving Titan into the Avatar pond, because he is the perfect habitat for that incredible habitat that we just created. Fly river turtle, also known as the pig-nosed turtle. Really, really cool, unique species. The only actually one freshwater species that actually has flippers. So this guy does not get out and bask. He is a fully aquatic turtle, and he is going to be swimming around in heaven. So the Sandbox Studio is an unbelievable facility for us to practice our craft. I love just having the open palette that I could work with, coming up with new ideas, utilizing some of the existing equipment that we have. So just doing some simple sketches is how I start out all of my projects. I also like to know how I'm going to get my results. So by using products that I'm comfortable with, but also kind of blending in some of the fake rocks, some of those other components that we normally don't have an opportunity to utilize on a lot of our other projects, this opens us up to a whole new environment. So it's indoors, climate controlled. I don't have to worry about getting things done because because of rain and stuff like that. It allowed me to take a lot of time and also work on some other projects. But installing those same products that I use on all my projects makes it very simple. Like I said, I know exactly what type of results I'm going to get. Now, one of my challenges that I had was utilizing a combination of natural stone with the fake stone. I had to choose the material properly. I also wanted to make sure that we had high visibility with everything. So all those rocks were going to be accents around this tank. The next step was, after I started putting everything together, I knew that I needed to see inside of it. So instead of just looking at the outside in, I wanted to be transparent. I wanted to have all of that beautiful rock work, all of the plants and all that supporting material around the outside perimeter, but focusing it into that underwater world. This is my favorite zone. You've heard me talk about those riparian habitats before. By blending these different disciplines together, it's almost a combination of aquarium, pond construction, paludariums, all these different things coming together with an artistic twist. By adding that floating island and taking it to a whole nother level, I wanted to create an otherworldly experience. And the only way to do that was with lots and lots of different types of tropical plants, mosses, water coming down from all different areas, little touches of vines, and then that incredible backdrop. I knew that was going to take everything over to a completely different level. But the challenge that I had was I normally don't hang backdrops. I don't normally hang things from rafters in our building. So I had to come up with lifting shackles and ways to lift up these different pieces and suspend them from the ceiling. The actual pond construction stuff, all of that stuff actually came natural to me, but actually doing this type of stuff, hanging those backdrops, making all that stuff blend into the background was a little bit of a challenge. And there's nothing like a good challenge just to push you in other ways. We set out with this goal of creating this avatar effect, and I knew just hanging the black fabric along the backdrop or putting in pine trees would not do it justice. So I worked with Lori, we found the appropriate backdrop, and I tell you what, when it all comes together, it is unreal. The other little details, the sights, the sounds, adding in some of that smoky effect that I did just with some simple dry ice, just took this project over the top, and it really whisked me away into that fake realm. So the sights and the sounds of flowing water, the mosses, water dripping off of all of the stumps and the logs and everything, just really kind of rounded out the project. And then my favorite part, as you all know, I'm an animal guy, so creating this for animals just took it to a whole nother level by adding in Titan inside of this water feature. So it was a beautiful home, the hanging islands from above, but also creating that underwater world where we could actually experience it from all different levels. The sight, the sound, the beauty, the feeling. I mean, it's almost like a visceral feeling that we have inside of us that really takes this project to a whole nother level.